Coming to you from the capital of Texas, broadcasting the truth coast to coast and worldwide, this is The Alex Jones Show.
This week, the British Prime Minister, the President of Turkey, the President of Georgia, and a bunch of others have all called for a world government. They say only a world government can stop this crisis in the Caucasus surrounding southern Russia. And you go read the definition for a new world order and what the white papers from government say it is. It's a world government. And then I still get emails every day saying I'm crazy, it doesn't exist. And I'm not going to let the White House get away with the fact that 2 weeks ago it was reported on MSNBC, of course we broke it, but it was reported later by MSNBC, that Cy Hirsch at a media conference said, well, I published a few months ago the fact that the U.S. government wanted to stage terror attacks on its own military to blame it on Iran, but he said, I didn't give details. Let me give you details. Dick Cheney wanted to paint up patrol boats to look like they were Iranian and have Navy SEALs come and attack U.S. naval ships. Yes, you heard me right. And that just kind of calmly got reported. Oh, Dick Cheney wanted to stage terror attacks, but was overruled. Who can overrule him but the president? And people are still debating whether 9/11 was an inside job or not, despite the fact we have declassified government plans like Operation Northwoods to stage just such attacks. I mean, I'm sorry. But people have been trained that patriotism is worshiping the government, not questioning the establishment, acting like the government's our friend and they're to help us. When I'm sorry, it's bankrupt, it's been bought up by foreign interest, and they're using us to build a world government and an empire. And they're running it up on our credit card, on our dollar, on our debt. Okay, I said I'd take a lot of calls. We're going to take 7 of them in a row, starting right now. Zach, John, Matt, Mato, Al, Todd, Jonathan, and many, many others. Right now, Zach in Utah, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
That stuff's getting pretty wild. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I just want to get your opinion on something. In the book of Revelations, in the King James Version of the Bible, it talks about the 7-headed dragon or the serpent. And I was wondering, like, if you had the same thoughts I had, that dragon represents world government. And it says that the Antichrist we put in charge of the world government, and he'll be given the power to kill people who don't follow.
Well, it says he'll be put over the 10 regions, and guess what? Under the United Nations, there are 10 world regions. I don't get into things generally from a spiritual or religious perspective. We just cover the news, and people can decide if that fits into Scripture for themselves. But I have to say, it's pretty scary because, yeah, Revelation says this world government based in Europe will get in a fight with, and it uses the ancient name of Russia to then start this world war, and that will then kill, what is it, like a third of the world's population. Pretty scary stuff. Let's go ahead now and talk to John in North Carolina. You're on the air, John.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to let all the listeners know that the 2 breakaway republics in Georgia, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, weren't traditionally part of Georgia. They only became part of Georgia when Stalin incorporated them as part of Georgia in the 1920s.
That's right. He was from Georgia proper, and so that was kind of a little hors d'oeuvre to his buddies from his hometown. He's from the capital of Tbilisi. And, I mean, it's a fact. I'm getting callers on air during the weekday show and emails saying I'm lying, Russia attacked, because people can't believe the media lies that bad. If you even, folks, just go to the AP and read their chain of events, the rundown, the fact sheet, I mean, it will admit that there was a sneak attack launched by U.S.-backed Georgian forces. But I mean, that's how evil our media is that the nightly news keeps saying Russia attacks, Russia attacks. Russia didn't attack anybody.
Yeah, and people should also take a look at what happened in Kosovo, where NATO went in there about 10 years ago, and they actually did ethnically cleanse the Christian Serbs, and then they just handed it over this year to the KLA.
To the Muslims.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's an absolute fact. But in fact, we have articles up on Infowars.com. The famous Newsweek photo of the starving man at barbed wire, and they said, we've got to invade. It turns out that was a UN food station on the Macedonian border there to the east of southern Serbia, southern Kosovo. It's Albania straight to the south, and then right to the east, it's Macedonia formerly part of Greece. That's where Alexander the Great's from. And again, but Americans don't know that. They don't know that they use Muslim Al-Qaeda. And this is admitted. This is a Senate report to attack for 2 years the Serbs. The Serbs finally fought back. Then NATO came in, bombed them, bombed Belgrade proper in northern Serbia, took over, promised they were never going to give it to Albania, and last year fully gave it to the Albanians and then mass murdered tens of thousands of Serbs with NATO-led forces.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate your coverage of the whole situation. Hopefully it'll be diffused.
You bet. Thank you. And don't forget, a few years ago in 2006, Slobodan Milosevic was in The Hague being tried for like 5 years, and they would never let him have a trial, and he kept bringing up all this, so they gagged him in his own trial. Then he was able to get messages out through his lawyer that he'd been told to basically plead guilty or they were going to poison him. And this came out in the news. Then he poisoned himself with a bizarre type of very rare poison, and they claim it was snuck to him in his cell. He's saying that they're going to poison me if I don't say I did all this. The Muslims attacked us, please. They're going to poison me. Then they murdered him the next week. Oh, you're talking out. Oh, we'll just murder you. It's the same thing with Radovan Kajovic right now coming out. Let's go ahead. But, those are just facts. Who wants facts? Better just to believe lies, huh? Matt in Chicago. But remember, the government is not our government. It's destroying our borders, our sovereignty, setting up a police state here, too. But people think patriotically just nuke the Russians. I've been hearing that. Nuke them, nuke them. These aren't defenseless Arabs, good old boys. The good old boys can't find Iraq on a map, but they like to, man, there's some brown people. Let's kill them. I'm tough. Yeah, let's get tough. Let's nuke Russia right now. I'm seeing that all over the place. I mean, they got nukes, folks. This country's in a lot of trouble. Let's talk to Matt in Chicago. Matt, you are on the air.
Good afternoon, Alex. How you doing?
Well, not too good. They just kicked off another giant Cold War, but it's not cold.
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm trying to convince my family and friends the real story.
Oh, they think Russia attacked, huh?
They follow Fox News religiously, basically. I just wanted to share two quick stories with you. First, on the economic front and the war on censorship. This past Thursday, AP had posted a story on Chicago Tribune's website breaking down how inflation is at the 17-year high.
Mm-hmm.
So in response to that, being the info warrior I am, posted a comment on there with 4 links breaking down how M3 is no longer reported by the Fed, what the impacts of that are.
Well, tell folks M3 is the outside the country money supply.
Right. And so basically I broke that down, and then I broke down the problems endured by the world due to the private federal...
Oh, but you weren't allowed on a comment board to actually share info.
Right. Well, the big thing is most of the people who posted comments in response to that agreed with me, and that was pretty surprising on mainstream news. But so throughout the evening, as a typical narcissistic person, I frequently checked...
No, you want to commune and interface with other fellow humans.
Right.
This is kind of the digital soapbox in the town square. You want to see what had been said, and let me guess, your links were taken down.
Well, yeah, there were over 20-plus posts the night before I went to bed. I woke up in the morning, went in, looked on the Chicago Tribune. 2 posts total the next day. Mine and all responses to mine were removed.
Well, let me read the story you're talking about. Consumer prices rise at double the expected rate. Now, remember, that's at double their cooked numbers. It's
right.
really about...
First note saying that it's 3 times what they report.
Yeah, consumer prices shot up in July at twice the expected rate, pushed higher by surging energy and food costs. The latest surge left inflation running at the highest rate in 17 years, and they claim that it's 5.6%. But every private firm and bank that analyzes it says between 13 and 15, but I guess you weren't allowed to link to that.
No, we can't let people know that.
Well, hey, let the yuppies believe it's only at 5.6.
The second story I want to get out real quick, just noticed on the cover of Time magazine, the title of the cover magazine article is How to Stop a New Cold War, authored by none other than the grand chessboard mastermind, Zbigniew Brzezinski.
Oh, he's going to save us? Is the world government going to save us? Got to jump. We're going to come back with more calls. Stay with me.